Hey, hi, hello. My name is Debonair VT, but you can call me Bo, and today we are going to be playing Bombun. This is a Bomberman-style platformer game where you are a bunny. So it seemed pretty appropriate that this would be one that I would pick up. It's a 3D platformer, which is a little out of my ken. However, it's a super fun game, and the category that we're going to be playing today, any percent new game plus, is extremely cool. The general gist of this run is we're going to be clearing all 24 of these stages. Well, it's kind of like 23 and a boss. There are 2 bosses, but one of them is not really a boss. Well, you'll see. And we're going to be doing it as quickly as possible. Time is going to start basically when we press go on the first level here, and it's going to end when we do the final hit to the last boss. And when we're done with that, we're going to go over a quick little incentive that we could add to this game, which is pretty fun. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So we are going to get going in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, I didn't press go. All right. So this is Bombun. Basically, this is a game where you are a bunny that throws bombs. You're going to see a couple things that are a little bit non-standard here. One of them is that we're throwing dynamite, which I guess counts as an explosive, but isn't a bomb necessarily. And the reason that we are using a different kind of explosive is that we are playing a secret character. This is Dynabun, not the eponymous Bombun that you would expect to normally play in this game. Dynabun is a character that you can only get after you have done all the things. You have to find all the bunnies and finish the game. Once you finish the game, once on normal, or I guess with Bombun, you unlock access to all of the cheats. And this is a game that has a couple of power-ups, which are pretty cool. And we're not going to be seeing any of them here because this character does all of the things that those power-up characters or the power-up suits do, and more. So the general gist behind this game is that you are trying to get to the end ring. You can do a couple of things. You've seen us basically do everything that we can so far in the game. You can jump, you can run, you can chuck bombs, and you can do one of these dives. From these dives, you can do kind of like a Super Mario rollout, like so. And it gives you a little bit of extra height and extra distance on your jump, so you can use that when you aren't otherwise launching yourself into space with your own explosions. Now, the normal character, Bombun, and the various costumes that she has are not able to move quite as smoothly as Dynabun can. They are vulnerable to their own bombs, and therefore you cannot do this kind of like cheeky bomb dive tech that we're doing to gain a lot of space and distance with Dynabun. That doesn't exist for Bombun. So we have a lot of interesting advantages and ways that we can kind of cheat our way through a lot of stages, which you're kind of seeing. Because there's not really a cooldown on bombs, you can kind of just chuck them. Which is really handy for us because we can use that to do things like climb walls, which is obviously extremely good in a game that's about platforming. We don't have to play a lot of the levels in this game, which is not something that I generally like about games. Like, typically games that I play for speed games are games that I really like the gameplay of, and I want to play more of those games, right? This one's a little bit different because you kind of make your own game, because everything is kind of off the wall and wild. You get to kind of just play it however you want to play it, and I really dig that. The freedom of movement in this game is super duper cool, especially with this character. So that it has that kind of vibe. It's got the Kiri vibe from for those of you who have watched any of my Kitsune Tales runs. Very, very similar to that. You move super cool. There's a lot of interesting little skips and things that you can do, and so we are playing the game we're playing it kind of our way. We're playing the Burger King version of this game. We can have it our way. So with all of that out of the way, this game came out in 2025. I think it was the first, and I believe therefore only, game from the developer. It has been an absolute joy to play so far. I don't really know what else said creator has plans for, but if they are making any more games, I'm very down for this. I will absolutely take part in playing them. There's a lot of interesting things that we will learn about as we go through this game. Most of them are kinds of enemies or how certain things work. Like those rings will accelerate you in a direction. We're obviously not going to be taking a lot of them because it's faster for us to just kind of do our little bomb dives and things here. Obviously, red crates explode when you explode them. So we will be landing on them sometimes. That was really close. But we're going to be trying to avoid them for the most part because getting hurt does knock you back a little bit. It gives you a tiny bit of invulnerability, which can be useful. But in general, we're going to be trying to avoid anything that gives us trouble. The only other interesting thing that we can do with any of the characters in this game is they have a quick fall. It's kind of that backflip. You've seen me do it a couple of times. It just lets you descend very, very quickly. So the idea here is going to be that we're going to use the quick fall to position ourselves to get more precise jumps, and we are going to in doing so kind of set ourselves up for success with all of these strange angles and things that we're going to be taking. So obstacles like this, we just don't we do not have to worry about them. We while all of that explaining was happening, we made our way through the first stage of the game. So that was Bombun base. It's kind of your very easy tutorial stage. There's not a lot of interesting gimmicks or anything. It's very much just go from the beginning to the end. Now we are in Skylands, and Skylands is pretty neat because this stage introduces these. I'm gonna grab these for safety here. It introduces these floating platforms with the fans on them. Now we can use these in a variety of ways, but generally they're going to be slower than just doing whatever else we want to do. So we're going to be doing our best to stay off of them as much as possible, even though it's kind of like the cool gimmick for Skylands. We are going to be just doing the normal Bombun stuff instead. Okay, we got that cycle. That's a really tight cycle that I didn't get in my PB, so I'm very happy we got it here. If we didn't make that, we would have to kind of sit on the back one and wait for quite a while, which obviously is slow. So every stage is going to have a little bit of a gimmick like this, but most of them are going to be pretty much the same kind of level design and the same kinds of things with a slightly different skin on it. So in this case, there's one of the secret bunnies. Sneak peek for later. In this case, we're using quite a lot of this brick and mortar style. In the last one, we had kind of like a cool like punk base or a tech punk base. We're going to be going to the WinRAR dimension a little bit later, which will be a lot of fun, and we are also going to the moon. Sadly, no DuckTales theme, which I know is a tragedy, but we can only do so much. That is one of those angles I was talking about. It's very scary. If we do it right, it's not going to look like anything bad happened, but it is scary to input that direction every time. So these mailboxes or clocks, these time clocks, are your checkpoints. We're going to be getting some of them in the later stages because the platforming can get a little dicey. But we're not going to be spending a ton of time or we're hopefully, I should say hopefully, we're hopefully not going to spend a lot of time having to go back to them. So pretty much the fastest way to move in this game is to do these dive rollouts. I give myself a little bit of leeway because sometimes you just really want to set up a good jump. and it's way safer to aim for setting up a jump if you're running, rather than doing a rollout and then praying and hoping that you're going to land in the right spot. So we take those. We are getting a new enemy here. These guys with the spinny spikes. They're not anything super duper interesting to write home about, but the way that they are placed in some of the levels is absolutely diabolical. You have to get within an inch of the chain or the spiky ball. It's extremely brutal. It's hard to interact with them in a beneficial way. So we're going to be doing our best to avoid them, if at all possible. We've been seeing these cannons on and off. Here's another moving platform section. Very cool game mechanic that we don't care about because we are Dinobun. But yeah, we've seen a couple of them already. Oh, I didn't throw a bomb first. Well, we're going back. I guess we didn't talk about these balloons. So these balloons are just like your once in a while. Oh, nice, we got that. They're a single-use little launcher for your jump, which is obviously extremely helpful when you're trying to platform across a section with the normal bunny. Obviously, we have some advantages because we are superhero bunny, and we don't have to play by the same rules as the main protagonist does. So that gives us a little bit of leeway, but there are some areas where it's just going to be beneficial for us to pick them up, or to land on them, I should say, and some places where it won't be. So you'll see a little bit of us using them, and sometimes that'll be good, and a little bit where we won't be using them and it won't matter. We're going on to the last level of Skylands. So after this, we're going to be heading to the Tundra. But for right now, you can kind of see how they have set this game up. It is just meant to be like a cool sandboxy platformer game. The idea in general is going to be for use with the normal bunny, but as mentioned, for our purposes, we're using the speedrunning character. Who I don't think was meant to be a speedrunning character. I think they were genuinely just meant to kind of be like I would like to get all the medals in the stages and get all of the clocks and, you know, hit all of the dev times and all that good stuff. Nice. So this is an example of, we're going to use one of these, but not all three, because our dive distance is so enormous. Ooh, we're going to have to grab... we're gonna have to find and grab some parts right quick, or we just have to be extremely careful. Please don't shoot me. Okay. Oh, tragedy. So as you can see, it can kind of go a little sideways pretty quick, but each of these stages is short enough that you're not losing too much if you have to go back. In general, we're obviously going to be trying to avoid any and all damage that we can get away with avoiding. I got a little unlucky there, taking some greedy lines. Okay, this is looking much better. A lot of the way that the mechanics in each of these stages work in a normal playthrough are, you'll see there's some oh yeah, and I played myself too, because there's a checkpoint right here that I didn't get. So we're gonna get it this time for karma. Hooray! There are a lot of moving platforms and things that you would normally need to do something else to activate. The something else is usually a switch that you have to hit with a bomb. Go figure. And that's kind of how one would progress through a lot of these areas that we are skipping because we can fly and explode things. For our purposes, we are almost never going to be pressing those switches, at least not intentionally. Oh, nice. We really threaded the needle there. But yeah, we're not, our goal here is going to be to avoid waiting on platforms and on gimmicks as much as possible. And to that end, The boss at the end of Tundra is going to be something that we just avoid like the plague. We are really not going to be doing a whole lot with that boss because it's an auto scroller, and you know how I feel about auto scrollers. I'm sure we all know how most speedrunners feel about auto scrollers, but in my particular case, I have a bit of a history with skipping them. And that remains true in this game. And we'll elaborate on that a little more when we get there. That's one of those switches I was talking about. You can see how these platforms are supposed to kind of move back and forth and give you some kind of pathway across that gap, but we can dive pretty much twice as far as Bombun can. So these levels were not made with Dynabun in mind. Like, this character is not a normal character, nor should be treated as such. This is the Spider's George of this game, all right? Nothing that this character can do is anything that you should have in this normal game. That said, I really love that he is in the game because I super dig all of the funny movement things and stuff that you get to do. I say as I get owned for trying to do speedy movement things. So as you can see in Tundra, the main mechanic is there is ice physics. And we have these flipping platforms. Oh no, tragedy has struck the bunny. Okay, I think we're just gonna take this in. We have these flipping platforms. The flipping platforms are deceptive. They look like a really easy platform kind of mechanic to deal with, a platformer mechanic, I should say. And you're not totally wrong, but when you're trying to just kind of zoom, and maybe you took a different turn than you were expecting, or you misjudged the spacing on one of your bomb throws, so you had to like improvise a little bit of a save for it, or anything like that. The expected time that you would have to clear said obstacle becomes a lot less. And when it's a lot less, you're going to end up with a lot more flubs. So they're tricky. They're tricky, I would say. I don't know if I would say they're hard, but they're definitely tricky. In our case, we damage boost a lot of them. We're going to do a really spooky jump here. Nice. So that's what I mean about the angles. You can technically change the camera angle, but I always forget to put it back, so I don't. And I've just kind of learned how to play the game without doing so. I think you could probably get even more precise with some of these angles if you did swap them, but that's for a different bunny to figure out. Oh, that was extremely close. We're just gonna take this real slow. Okay, I really thought we were touching that fire. No question in my mind, I was toast there. But we made it. All right, so that was Tundra 2 done. We're on to Tundra 3. We're not doing so great based on my prior splits, but fear not, because there's like multiple minutes of time save at the end of this run. Because I did not play some of the later levels very well, which is great for current me, but wasn't great for past me. Oh, that was just rude, I think. But yes, so as you can probably tell, once we've gotten through most of the main explanations for this kind of game, for this game in general, but a lot of the games that I like to play, there's relatively easy to understand movement tech and general mechanics, which allows us to then kind of throw to donations or messages or anything like that at basically any point. So from this point forward, we've kind of already described basically how the game is going to work for the entire run, and everything beyond this is going to be mostly color commentary about stages. We're going to be talking about a little bit about the gimmicks in some of the later stages, because they are pretty cool, and we do care about some of them. Obviously, this one is less of that, But we do have to engage with multiple gimmicks, multiple zone gimmicks, I guess, as the game progresses. But there is a lot of downtime. We're about halfway through the game after we finish this boss. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a classic bow game boss, which is to say he looks like it's going to take a while and it's going to be a really long thing and stuff. And normally you would have to deal with this, but we're playing Dynabun, so see you later, buddy. And now we're just going to finish the stage. The way that this boss fight is supposed to work is you are supposed to... I guess this is kind of both funny things. It's a boss from a game that I like, and also an auto-scroller from a game I like. We would normally have to reach that point and then do damage to him. And then after we have done damage, he will jump up over that platform that we skipped on and kind of go through the same song and dance to get to the previous jumper and then to this jumper. And once we do 3 damage, we've completed the stage. But there's no trigger to check if the boss is dead. As long as you hit the goal, you've done it. So GG's, we beat the boss. We beat the first boss. Now we're officially halfway through the game. We're going into Volcano. As you might imagine, the mechanic or the secret mechanic in this stage is lava. We also have these little flipper panels. If you stay on them for too long, they turn down and they knock you off, or you fall off rather. They kind of like tip you out of the way and you're done. But we've got these big stinking fire pillars. And they're not terrible to deal with because your bombs, even when you're playing Bombun, will explode on any environment that you throw them at. So with Dynabun specifically, we can chuck our dynamite at the... Oh, did we get the thing? Nice. We chuck our dynamite at specifically the pillars of flame. Oh, tragedy. And because we're throwing them specifically at the pillar, when it touches the fire, it will explode and it will create an explosion. And because the explosion has been created, nice. Because the explosion was made, we can jump off of it and we can continue our funny platform. These bombs, as you can probably guess, if you hit them with your... There, they just blew up. If you hit them with your bomb, they will explode, which obviously is less than ideal for our hero, who only throws bombs. So we try to avoid them, if at all possible. Is that gonna make it? No. I thought maybe we would get there, but that's all. So Volcano is going to be a lot about avoiding taking damage from the fire as much as possible, and when we can use it, we want to save it, or we want to try to make something happen with it that we otherwise wouldn't necessarily be able to do. The intended mechanics for this stage are: this is where the game introduces you to the ice power-up. You throw blocks of ice, which is a pretty cool power-up. Can we get the corner? Nope, didn't quite get the corner there. You can just barely land on the corners of those floating platforms and kind of skip the in-between, which is super sweet, but we didn't quite get it. I'm gonna grab that for safety. When you throw the oh, I don't know what I was thinking was going to happen there, but it wasn't that, apparently. When you throw ice at the pillars of fire, they freeze and they make a big block for you to jump on. So in our case, it's kind of the same. We're kind of navigating these obstacles the same way that we would with Bombun, except that we're way better than Bombun in basically every way, mechanically. Which is good for us and good for the speedrun, but not so great for Bombun. And it's really unfortunate too, because there are a lot of super cute outfits in this game that you can get from finding and unlocking stuff. One of which I showed off earlier, which was the hat. And you can also see the hat basically with every time we load into a stage. I have that skin on. But there's other ones, like there's a super cute like swimsuit costume, and there's all kinds of stuff. It's really, really good. But Dynabun can't wear any of them, so it's a tragedy. The ice blocks are kind of I feel like they're kind of a love it or hate it. Oh, I didn't split. They're kind of like a love it or hate it power up. You either really think it's super cool to be placing your own blocks to do platforming on, or you don't. And it's not up to me to decide that for you. I think it's a pretty cool power, but I really like all of the special stuff that you can do in this game anyway, so I was always going to say that. As you can see here, we are doing quite a lot of skipping. We're saying, oh, you want me to turn on some floating platforms so I can go to a place? Well, what if I went on the roof like some kind of bunny ninja instead? Which I guess means I should talk about the first mechanic that we skipped, or the first power-up that we skipped, which is that one down there. It's a cyclone. It's kind of, I believe there's a Mega Man boss weapon that does it. It might be from Mega Man 8. I'm not 100% sure which one it's from, but you throw down a bomb, and when the bomb goes off, it makes a tornado, and then you can ride the tornado. And that is really cool, except it takes just as much time to ride that tornado as it does the like tornado platforms that we keep running away from because they take too long. So as you might imagine, not very high on our list of things to try to do. Also to note, if I do end up running into any of those power-ups during this run, I'm just going to be changing directly back to Dynabun. They're not disallowed or anything like that. All of the in-game cheats, as long as you can access it from that menu, it's fine. There's nothing, you can do all of that, not a problem. But for our purposes, we really don't need them because Dynabun is so incredibly good at playing Bombun. There's an expression in the FGC when a character excels in their role in their particular game. They're very good at playing that game, right? So you have Soul Bad Guy is very good at playing Guilty Gear Strive, is a classic, and it's true. But in our case, Dynabun is the GOAT of playing Bombun. No one does it as good as this guy does, and it's not close. So we really want to lean on that as much as possible, even if it means that we're going to be kind of skipping the other cool power-ups. But like, can your power-ups do this? No, they can't. So, well, I guess technically one of them can. That was not a greedy route. That was being saved from my own choices. So thank you, Bombun. You're a benevolent god. I appreciate you ever so much. There is going to be a power-up that kind of does the same kind of thing as Dynabun's explosions, which we will be getting to in the next stage. So now that we're done with the volcano, we're going to the place that you would obviously go after a volcano, which is the moon. And in this stage, we would normally get access to this power-up, this pink ball, which is kind of like a gummy ball. Oh, this is also the WinRAR dimension, so shoutouts to WinRAR. I really love how they've done the corner blocks in all of the zones, but specifically in this one, that being like the WinRAR logo really just tickles me in a very specific way. It's very, very sweet. I love it. But yeah, we are now that we're here, we would get access to that power up, and what that power up is it's kind of like a jelly bean or a gummy ball maybe. It throws out a bomb like this, and when you would where the explosion would be, it kind of creates a bouncy gel surface. So you can use it the same way that Dynabun uses their bombs. So we're going to be jumping through this corridor, for instance, with a really cool little bomb there. You can take this this route a little bit differently. I think in my PB, I actually jumped from like way high up somewhere else and landed there and didn't have to go through that little area. But it's obviously not required. There's a lot of freedom of just kind of figuring out how do you want to clear each of these obstacles. For me, the answer is usually by doing a bomb dive, because it's fun. But that is about the closest that you can get to the power that Dynabun has, realistically, is with this power up. And it doesn't give you the extra dive distance, and it doesn't give you access to the I guess you can use it more or less indefinitely. If I remember right, there's a timer on it. I genuinely haven't played with the normal bunny in such a long time. I think there's a timer. But anyway, the goal for that power up would be to get us through basically all of these problems, kind of how we're doing them right now, which is really neat. Oh, the bomb didn't quite bounce the way that I needed it to there. There is a really cool sequence you can do where you throw the bomb on that... Hello? On that first platform. And it bounces because it's a trampoline, and then in the process of it bouncing, the next one that it would be on flips over and it explodes, and you land on it, and you can just like clear the whole thing. It's so cool. But we didn't get that, so it is what it is. The added benefit of both the pink goo power-up, I'm sure it has a name, and Dynabun Dynamite is that we can, like we said earlier, any obstacle, any terrain piece that has collision can explode a bomb. So those pillars of fire can explode a bomb. The spikes on these platforms can explode a bomb. Vertical fire can explode bombs, believe it or not. There's all kinds of ways to abuse both enemy attacks and also regular obstacles to kind of reach your goal. And we're going to be doing quite a lot of that, as you've already seen. But even going forward, there is only one more zone after this. Oops. So this would be probably about the point in time where we would be potentially trying to finish the incentive that I mentioned earlier. However, I do think that this incentive is a little bit flexible because of how quickly you can find the hidden bunnies. I don't know if it would make more sense to do it as a post-game incentive or as a during the game incentive. Each one is kind of like 30 seconds or so away from the start of their respective level. So it doesn't take a super long time to go see them all, and the other piece of this is, even though it doesn't take a ton of time to see them, there's also there's nothing special that happens. It's not like there's a dance that we do or anything. In the normal game, it just kind of pops up and says like, hey, congrats, you found the bunny. Like you did the achievement to find that hidden bunny. That was one of the very few instances where we opt to turn off a switch, and it's because those spinning fireballs are really scary, and I just don't want to deal with them. As you can see, we saved up quite a bit of time there, and that's because during my PB, I died without hitting that checkpoint. As you can imagine, running all the way back through that stage, not super fun. Oh, that's unfortunate. Where is it gonna put us? That's not too bad. So when you do fall off the side, which you will do, can you go up there, please? When you fall off the side, which will happen to you, because that is the nature of games such as this, it tries to put you back at the last point in time that you touched real ground. So with a lot of our very scary jumps and things, like that one, goodness gracious, that one scares me every time. We don't actually touch the ground for a really long time, which is why in both the moon stage and the next zone, we are going to be getting... These are the two levels where we're going to actually be taking our time to grab some of the checkpoints, because these levels are pretty unforgiving. So there's a good example of vertical fire, which you are supposed to climb with the goo. but we don't have to. We do damage boost there, even though you know, you could just go over it and it would be effectively the same and be fine. But all right, that was a nice cleanup. All right, and that was the end of the moon. So now we're going to cyberspace. Cyberspace is the last zone in the game. And as it suggests, we're in cyberspace. So the gimmick in this stage is these invisible platforms that kind of grow as you run past them. Oh, well, that's all right. I guess I deserve that. We are gonna be doing a lot of jumps that look extremely sketchy in here, as you might imagine, because we're jumping towards platforms where we know that there's nothing, but it, you know, obviously looks quite scary to people who are unfamiliar. The game gives you some hints, like these bomb fellas here. Obviously, we don't want to explode them if we can avoid it, because we don't want to take a ton of damage. We're just going to run right past them. Shoutouts to the Sonic boxes. I don't really know how they're supposed to work in the actual Sonic games, but I like the interpretation of them in this game. They just kind of have like a monitor strapped to the front that plays whatever is in there. Oh, that got me. An absolute sniper over there. So this is another example of like, this looks really, really scary. Ah, we missed it. And it is. We needed to go slightly more this way. There we go. And then we go off the bird. Yes. So this is another zone where they're kind of, or this is your like classic end of the game zone where they really want you to use like all of the stuff that you've learned throughout the game to try to navigate through all of the obstacles and reach the goal ring. Oh, we were just short. It's a good thing we got that checkpoint. We're not too far back, but that could have gone a little bit better for us. These are the stages that I lost time on, so they're the ones that are going to be giving us a little bit of trouble, at least for the immediate future. But you know, nothing a little time in the lab. So when you're playing through cyberspace as the normal Bombun, you're going to get access to the tornado power, you're going to get access to the ice power, and also to the jelly power. And all of those things are going to kind of work together. There you go. That's what that's supposed to look like. Minus the double bounce at the end, but we take this. Throughout these stages, you're kind of meant to use what you've learned to finish them. In our case, what we've learned is that platforming is for sillies, and we don't have to do that. So we're gonna just continue with the teachings that we know, which is if you dive with a bomb, you can do whatever you want. And we're gonna just live that life and continue to do so. The rest of 2 and the rest of 3 are tough stages, so this is likely a really good place for some amount of serious time for me. Not serious time, but more like I would love to not have to talk while I'm going through these. So another example of just it. There's a lot of really, really good places in this video game to plug the charity or to call for donations or talk about incentives or any of that stuff. I think this is a game that would definitely benefit from having a co-commentator because there isn't a ton of gameplay to really discuss. Most of it is just kind of explaining mechanics and things. But I do think that for the most part, most of the game stuff can be explained pretty well, regardless. I was really worried I was going to hit that explosive and then go bounce up in the air and then have to change some stuff, but we're good. All right. So we're definitely not going to get the sub 40 on this run, and that's okay. The final boss is going to take takes like 2.5 minutes or something, just because of how the cycles work out. Oh, I wanted to grab the corner. You can see how a lot of the lines that we're taking, which are quite aggressive, are quite scary, because if you fall at any point, it's quite nice for you, Muggsy. You're back to the beginning. or back to wherever you started that sequence of bomb jumps. So it can get a little scary. All right, we got the corners on those. I'll take that. That's a really cool, really precise little platforming trick. There's not a ton of tricks in this game because our character is so overpowered. Most of, if not all of the tricks, I think are for the most part in the normal Bombun route. But I don't even know what those are. I don't know if this game really has tricks aside from just like platforming more efficiently. So here's that section you were meant to pick up the goo power up, the gel power up, the gummy, and then kind of go from there. But obviously we don't need to do that because we're incredible and amazing. We're not going to worry about trying to double up on the corners here because we would have to bomb jump at the end anyway. These fellas are being extremely rude to me right now, and I gotta say I don't really appreciate it. All right. So that was cyberspace. Everything in cyberspace is done. We are now going to fight Bombun. Now this is the final boss of the game. There's going to be a cycle this fight follows a cycle where it is 3 attacks, then we do 3 damage, then 3 attacks, then we do 3 damage, then 3 attacks, then we do 3 damage, and then it is done. You can technically do this with whomever you would like. I know folks do the vertical bomb jumps with the goo power up because it just kind of lets you float in the air forever. But in our case, I like playing it. So we're gonna do the fight normal. Well, normal-ish. There's only, I think, 4 attacks that Bombun can do. We got 3 of them here. Oh nope, we only got 2 of them here. So there's these floor lasers which can only come from in front of, behind, or to the left or right of you. They'll never come from behind you. You have the missiles. There's another one where they shoot kind of needles at you that track a little bit and explode on the ground in a small AoE after they hit. And there are also, and that's this one. So for this, we just want to try to stay out of the way, but we also don't want to be too close because we don't want to get caught in any of these explosions. And then the last one is they throw 2 kind of like spinning top blades on the floor. And you can just stand in a corner and 9 out of 10 times they will never touch you and it doesn't matter. And that's this one. So we're going to stand over here. It is extremely rare for either of them to reach this corner just because of how the bounce mechanic works. So you're generally pretty safe to just stand here and they can't get you. And that is the second cycle done. So there's only 1 set of attacks after this. Now the reason we're not mashing here is because your bombs can blow up your other bombs, for example. And we don't want to miss out on a throw because we accidentally exploded one of them. So we wait a tiny bit just to ensure that that will work. All right, we got discs again. This one I think is the slowest. None of her attacks are fast. This one is probably the fastest, but it does it 3 times, so even then, maybe not. All right, what you got for me last? What's the last one, huh? What is it? This again. All right, so time is coming up here. We are going to do our last 3 hits of damage. Then we're going to get a fun cutscene. 1, 2, time. 42:33 is not bad. That's pretty solid, all things considered. Now we get this cutscene where Bombun sees us, totally us, definitely not a different character. And we kind of explode our way out of cyberspace, as you do. Anyone that's played Dawn Trail knows what this is like. And that's Bombun. Any percent, New Game Plus. It's a super fun run. It's another one of those games where like it isn't perfectly estimate proof, but it's pretty close. You don't go back super duper far. that was like a pretty solid run with a few small deaths. Pretty straightforward. So real quick, we're going to go over the incentive, and the incentive would be to find all of the hidden bunnies. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is the kind of incentive that we would want to do in the middle of the run or at the end, and I will show you why. This is the first one. So that took less than 10 seconds to do. So it seems like, you know, maybe for some of them, it would make more sense for us to do it while we're doing the run. But if we wanted to just do a fun little showcase afterwards, we could do it this way. We could also potentially try to get to them like with actual Bombun, which would be something I would need to practice because I have not done that in a very long time. But that would be doable as well. There is our next target. So the idea here would be in order to find them officially for the game, you have to get over to where they are. So we would be doing this in every stage, dancing a little bit, and then going to the next one. So there are 7 hidden bunnies, but there are only 6 stages. Now you may be asking me, Bo, what does that mean? And I will get to that. The very first bunny is in 1-4, and then each of the other bunnies are in the second stage of their respective zone. So the bunny here is in Tundra 2. We just got the one from Skyland 2. We're going to get Volcano 2, then Moon 2, then Cyberspace 2. Each of them is pretty cool. They're all super neat. I kind of wish that they were all playable in some way in the game, because that would be rad. But we do have Dynabun, so that's pretty cool. I'm certainly not complaining about Dynabun existing. Since it makes this run even more fun than the normal one is. Now, I think this one's over here. I'm pretty sure. You're right here, right, buddy? Nope. Next one, back one. I think I might have to go back. Yeah. They're not up here, are they? Oh, there they are. Ah, I jumped across the gap. I played myself. All right. So here's the Volcano Bunny. And then we have the Moon Bunny. This is another one that's just kind of on the top of a pavilion, so relatively straightforward to get to. There they are. This one's kind of got a Mega Man thing going on. Big cannon and a helmet. I don't know if these are like characters from other games or anything like that, but you know, they're cool. They're all neato. Oh, also, I don't think I mentioned it while I was doing the run because I forgot, but the dial-up tones and the music for this stage are absolutely awesome. Super inspired choice. I don't know why I climbed up here. I don't have to go here. All right, Bo, get it together. Come on now. That's what we were looking for. Sometimes you're meant to use a power to clear an obstacle, so they'll give you little hint crystal monies like that, but sometimes you don't get those. So here is Cyberspace Bunny. And now the final hidden bunny is actually in the tutorial stage. Yes, they hid a secret in the tutorial stage. So if you look right over here, you'll notice a small little platform. And if you hop on up here, we get this bunny. So that's all the secret bunnies. So like in total, it's 3 or 4 minutes. We would obviously have to go out of our way to get this one because it's not a part of the direct run. However, I think either doing this after the whole run is done or doing it before or doing it, getting this one before we start the full run, and then doing them during the run. I think either of those are just fine. So that could be a fun, easy little incentive. See some other characters, some other character models, and then obviously we have the rest of the run to worry about. So thank you so much for watching this. I know I ummed and uh'd a lot, but again, there's not a ton of gameplay really to talk about in this. This is definitely more of a kind of like shoot the breeze while we're doing the jumps kind of game. So if you enjoyed this and you would like to see more of it, then we'll see you for the marathon. So thanks so much.